Okay, good morning, and good morning, everyone. Welcome back once again to another class of government schemes. In today's class, we are going to cover another two very important schemes of the Ministry of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare, that is Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana and Horticulture Cluster Development Program. So before we begin, you need to give me a thumbs up if everything is fine, if you can see me properly and can hear me properly. Good morning, everyone. Please give me a thumbs up. If you can see me properly and can hear me properly, then I'll start the class. Good morning, Mukund. Good morning, Aviral. Guys, please give me a thumbs up if you can see me properly and can hear me properly. And with this, we are going to end the Ministry of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare. In the next class, we are going to pick up the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. Okay, ji? Chaliye. All right. I think I have a lot of thumbs ups now. So let's start the session and let's first talk about the Horticulture Cluster Development Program, and then we will talk about the Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana. And I hope there are no disturbances in my voice as it was there in the last class. I hope there is no disturbance, my dear friends. Chali. So what is horticulture cluster first of all? What does it mean by horticulture cluster? So cluster basically is a you know cluster का मतलब होता है group, right? In simple words, cluster means group and horticulture means horticulture crops. And which are the horticultural crops? By the way, fruits, vegetables, right? Ornamental crops, ठीक है, ornamental crops हो गए, all of these are horticulture, classified as horticulture crops. Also herbs, right? Medicinal herbs, these are the examples of horticulture crops, ठीक है. So let's say there is a you know एक कोई एक there is an area, let's say कश्मीर में, ठीक है, फॉर एग्जांपल कश्मीर का एरिया पकड़ लेते हैं. तो कश्मीर में सबसे ज्यादा क्या उगाया जाता है? सेब, ठीक है. So that can be classified as a horticulture cluster for apple, right? That can be classified as a horticulture cluster of apple, whereby what government has done is, गवर्नमेंट ने क्या किया वहां पे कि छोटे छोटे जो खेत थे उनको मिला के एक बड़ा ग्रुप बना दिया, एंड दैट इज कॉल्ड हॉर्टिकल्चर क्लस्टर्स. सो बेसिकली when small patches of agricultural fields combine to form a group, that is called horticulture cluster. ठीक है, I hope the meaning of horticulture cluster is clear. Okay, so this scheme is aimed at enhancing the competitiveness of identified horticulture clusters in India. Like for example, Himachal Pradesh apple, Jammu Kashmir apple, इस तरीके से बहुत सारे horticulture clusters इंडिया में आइडेंटिफाई करें और उनकी competitiveness को enhance किया जाएगा. It was launched in the year 2021. Initially in the year 2021, it was launched as a pilot in a pilot mode in 12 clusters of India. In 12 clusters in India, and it was targeted that in the pilot mode 12 clusters will be established. But now in 2024, after the successful implementation of pilot mode, the total number of clusters that will be established under this particular scheme is 55. Total 55 clusters will be there, and these 55 clusters will be developed where the government will provide the production support, the post harvesting support, the marketing support, the branding support, everything related to the horticulture crop. Right? The scheme is being implemented by the National Horticulture Board. National Horticulture Board is the nodal implementing agency for this particular scheme. Now, as I already told you that the scheme follows a cluster based approach where there is a focus on geographical clusters of horticultural crops to promote specialization. Like I told you, apple is a specialty of Himachal Pradesh. Apple is a specialty of Kashmir, right? So basically, the government is promoting these geographical clusters to promote the specialization, right? It encourages the integration of production, post-harvest management, logistic and marketing for efficiency. So as I told you, the government provides production support, marketing support, post-harvesting support. Every kind of support is being provided. Okay? This scheme is integrated with other government schemes as well, because for example, if there is a need to establish an infrastructure in a horticulture cluster, agricultural infrastructure, then for that particular agricultural infrastructure, funding can be borrowed, money can be borrowed from the agriculture infrastructure fund. Okay, I hope you remember agriculture infrastructure fund. We have discussed it in very much detail. So through agricultural infrastructure fund, the loans can be borrowed and the required agricultural infrastructure can be created or established. ठीक है? It is also converged with other scheme like PM Kusum to encourage solar powered irrigation and sustainable farming. Right? These horticulture clusters, right? अब यहाँ पे क्या होगा? Farming होगी. Now this farming is powered by PM Kusum's solar powered irrigation and sustainable farming. ठीक है? Now, if we talk about the category of clusters, so there are three categories of clusters: mega, midi, and mini. Mega horticulture clusters are those which have area of more than 15,000 hectares. Midi are those which have area more than 5,000 to 15,000 hectare, and mini horticulture clusters are those having area up to 5,000 hectares. And what about the financial assistance which is being provided for establishing and for promoting the horticulture speciality in these clusters? So for mega horticulture clusters, up to 100 crore rupees of amount is being will be provided or is being provided. Midi up to 50 crores, mini up to 25 crores. Right? So that is all about horticulture cluster development program, my dear friends. बस इतना ही पढ़ना है आपको. Let me just repeat it once again. So horticulture cluster development program was launched in the year 2021 with the aim of enhancing the competitiveness of identified horticulture clusters in the country by providing the production support, by providing the post harvesting support, the marketing support, the branding support, the logistical support, every kind of support. Right? It was launched in 2021 with a in a pilot mode to to establish 12 clusters in the country, but thereby in the year 2024 the number of targeted clusters is now 55. The scheme is being implemented by National Horticultural Board. The scheme is being implemented in a cluster based approach where the government is promoting the geographical cluster of horticulture crops to promote specialization. The scheme is integrated with other government schemes of Ministry of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare like Agriculture Infrastructure and PM Kusum. There are three categories of horticulture clusters: mega, midi, and mini. And financial assistance is also provided as per the category of the horticulture cluster. ठीक है? I hope horticulture cluster development program is clear. Please give me a thumbs up if yes. Now let's talk about the प्रधानमंत्री फसल बीमा योजना. ऐसे ही 5-5 7-7 मिनट में schemes खत्म करनी है. You don't have to spend a lot of time. You don't have to spend a lot of time on a particular topic, on a particular scheme. मैंने पहले भी बताया था, हर टॉपिक की एक एक यू नो एक औकात होती है कि उसको उतना ही समय मिलेगा, उतना ही समय देना है, उससे ज्यादा नहीं देना है भाई. ठीक है? अब अगर एक स्कीम को करने में आधा घंटा लगाओगे तो हो गया, फिर तो कर लिया तुमने सिलेबस पूरा. ठीक है? चलिए, now let's talk about the प्रधानमंत्री फसल बीमा योजना. So I should not tell you the objective of this particular scheme, my dear friends. Fasal means for a crop and Bima means insurance. So it is a crop insurance scheme which is being implemented to provide protection to farmers against the crop failures. That is the objective of this scheme. The objective is to provide financial protection to farmers against crop failure due to natural calamities, pests, and diseases. It was launched in the year 2016, and we recently discussed this scheme, and it completed 9 years of implementation. Right? So those achievements I'm not going to talk about. That is the part of PIB. You guys have to integrate PIB and the static scheme yourself. कुछ तो आपको भी करना पड़ेगा. सब कुछ आपको मैं करके नहीं दूंगा. So the objective is to provide financial protection to farmers against the crop failures. It was launched in the year 2016. Now this scheme is eligible for almost all the farmers, not actually all the farmers, including sharecroppers and tenant farmers who are growing notified crops in the notified areas. There are certain crops which are notified in notified areas, right? Only such notified crops are in notified areas are eligible to get the benefits of Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana. The coverage is 100% voluntary. It is not mandatory for all the farmers to get enrolled under Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana. It's their choice. Okay? And farmers who already who already have crop loans from financial institutions are encouraged to enroll, so that मतलब encouragement सबको सारे farmers को दी गई है. So this is the eligibility criteria. Basically, do remember that this scheme is completely voluntary, and only those crops which are notified in notified areas are eligible. All right. Now, what type of crops are covered? So, all food crops are covered. Of course, they must be, these crops must be notified. ठीक है, notified होनी चाहिए. All food crops, all oilseeds, all annual commercial or annual horticulture crops, and perennial horticultural commercial crops for which there is no standard methodology for yield estimation. ठीक है, ऐसे perennial horticultural commercial crops जिनके लिए yield estimation का कोई हमारे पास standard methodology नहीं है. ठीक है, तो so these are the four types of crops which are being covered under Fasal Bima Yojana. Now, how much farmers have to pay? How much farmers have to pay? 2% for Rabi Kharif crops. 2% of what? 2% of sum insured. 2% of sum insured for Kharif crops, 1.5% for Rabi crops, and 5% for annual commercial and horticultural crops. Now, who pays the rest of the insurance premiums? The government. Is the central government, is it the central government who is paying rest of the amount? No, central government सारा amount पे नहीं करती है. मैं अभी इसके बारे में आपको बताऊंगा. The remaining premium is subsidized by the government to ensure full coverage. यहाँ लिख तो दिया इन्होंने, बट यहाँ पे गवर्नमेंट का मतलब सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट नहीं है. स्टेट गवर्नमेंट और सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट दोनों मिलके करती है, और इसमें सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट का बहुत कम कंट्रीब्यूशन होता है. उसके बारे में मैं अभी आपको बताऊंगा. बहुत ही दिमाग से इन्होंने काम किया हुआ है. ठीक है, यहाँ पे इन्होंने कह दिया ओके, you have to, the farmers have to pay only 2% in case of kharif crops, 1.5% in rabi, 5% for commercial and horticultural crops. Rest of the premium shall be taken care of by the government. ठीक है, उसके बाद इन्होंने सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट ने एक छोटी सी पेज लगाई थी, अभी बताऊंगा, डोंट वरी. Now, what kind of coverage is being provided? So, covers crop loss due to natural calamities, including droughts, floods, cyclones, hailstorm, landslides, heavy rains, pests and diseases. So, any kind of natural calamity, if there is any kind of crop loss due to any kind of natural calamity, so that will be covered. Okay. There is a compensation of 25% of the sum insured if farmers are unable to sow crops due to adverse weather condition. Even if the farmer is not able to sow the crops, अगर वो उगा ही नहीं पाया due to bad weather conditions, then also 25% of the sum insured will be provided as the compensation. However, as per the provisions, it should not be provided. But there is this provision as well that sowing coverage is also being provided. Post-harvest losses is also covered up to 14 days after harvesting for crops stored in cut and spread condition. What is cut and spread condition? When the crops are, when the crops uh, are left lying on the field for getting dry, so that is called cut and spread condition. The crops are being cut and they are left on the field to get dry. That is called cut and spread condition. And in this condition, the crops are covered for up to 14 days after harvesting. Okay. Localized calamities like hailstorms, landslides, inundation, all these calamities are also covered. The crop loss due to attack by wild animal is also covered, but in that case the farmers have to pay the notional premium. Very small amount farmers have to pay. So if there is a threat of attack by wild animals, then farmers can voluntarily choose this option that okay, I want a cover against the attack by wild animals. Okay? In that case, the farmers will have to pay a small amount of premium. That is not being paid by the government. Farmers have to bear that cost. Okay? And losses arising out of war, nuclear risk, and malicious damage and other preventable risks shall be excluded. So this is obvious. Malicious damage will not be covered. Preventable risk will not be covered. Do remember that losses arising out of war and nuclear risk are also not covered. ठीक है, I hope the coverage is clear. Now there is a faster claim settlement under yes Anchal, you are absolutely right. Irrigation पे depend करता है. Faster अभी आ रहे हैं, उसमें भी आ रहे हैं. Faster claim settlement है भाई. The claims are processed within 2 months after the crop cutting. There are two initiatives which have been recently launched under PMFBY. One is YesTech, that is Yield Estimation System using technology to minimize manual errors and ensure efficient settlement. Then we have another system that is WINS, which is which has been set up to, for better yield production. Right? It has been set up for better yield production, and WINS stands for Weather Information and Network Data System. Okay. And last but not the least, what are the changes that have been made recently? So initially, remember, this scheme was mandatory for loany farmers, all the Kisan credit card loany farmers and all the farmers which have borrowed some kind of loan from any financial institution. This scheme was mandatory for them. But since 2022, not 22, 2020, since 2020, the scheme has been made optional. It has been made voluntary for all the farmers, including the loany farmers as well. Now, what is this sentence telling us? Premium subsidy capped at 30% of unirrigated areas and 25% of irrigated areas. अब इसका मतलब देखो क्या है भाई? इसका मतलब ये है कि सरकार जो है भाई केवल 30% तक का ही, if it is a case of in a unirrigated area, then the government will bear the premium, then the government will provide premium subsidy up to maximum 30% of the sum insured. मान लेते हैं कि sum insured is rupees 100. Sum insured is rupees 100. Let's say it is a kharif crop. Let's say it is a kharif crop. The government, the farmers will pay 2%. The farmer will pay 2%. Let's say premium is rupees 100. The farmer will pay 2%, that is 2 rupees. And the premium subsidy capped at 30% for unirrigated areas. Let's say it is an unirrigated area. तो सब्सिडी कितना 30%, यानी गवर्नमेंट कितना देगी 30 रुपए. तो टोटल कितना हो गया 32 rupees. So who will bear the rest 68 rupees? Who will bear the rest 68 rupees? And this 30 rupees also is being shared between the central and state. It is shared between the center and state in the respective ratios. ठीक है. Now who will bear this extra 68 rupees? ये कौन bear करेगा? ये सारा का सारा state government bear करती है. And इसीलिए there has been a tussle between the central governments and the central government and the state governments with respect to implementation of this particular scheme. ठीक है, क्योंकि इसमें states के ऊपर burden बहुत ज्यादा है. सरकार ने कह दिया भाई हम तो 30% तक का ही देंगे अनइरिगेटेड एरियाज में, और इरिगेटेड एरियाज में वी विल द प्रीमियम सब्सिडी विल बी कैप्ड एट 25%. वी विल ओनली प्रोवाइड द सब्सिडी एट 25% ऑफ द सम इंश्योर्ड. ठीक है, बाकी कौन पे करेगा भाई? बाकी तो स्टेट गवर्नमेंट पे करती है. तो सारा बर्डन किस पे आ गया? स्टेट गवर्नमेंट पे आ गया. यस आंचल, यू आर एब्सोल्युटली राइट. अमाउंट इरिगेशन एरिया पे डिपेंड करता है. ठीक है. Increased state participation with 24 states and 15 insurers involved in financial year 25, up from 20 states and 11 insurers in financial year 21. तो यहाँ पे स्टेट गवर्नमेंट के ऊपर बर्डन ज्यादा है, इसलिए थोड़ा सा टसल रहता है. ठीक है. ऑलराइट. Now what are the impacts and outcomes? So it has led to enhanced crop protection and financial stability. Of course, when it is a scheme. The scheme is all about providing the crop protection, and once the farmers have crop protection against the natural calamities, there will definitely be financial stability, because of course अगर crop loss हो जाता है तो पूरा का पूरा नुकसान है उसका. ठीक है. Increased farmer participation, over 4 crore farmers enrolled in financial year 24, up 26% from 3.17 crore in financial year 23. And 600 lakh hectares covered in financial year 24, a 19% increase from 500 lakh hectares in financial year 23. ठीक है, फार्मर पार्टिसिपेशन बढ़ा है. There is a use of advanced technology whereby Madhya Pradesh became the very first state to adopt 100% technology based yield estimation in 23-24, and 9 major states have already adopted Yes Tech for claim settlements. Okay, these are some of the impacts and outcomes. So that's it for today's class, my dear friends. I hope both these schemes are clear. If you have any doubts, please ask me. Otherwise, give me a thumbs up. And I'm not giving you the questions now. Some of you might say that अब आपने क्वेश्चन देने बंद क्यों कर दिए? मैंने इसका रीजन समझा है कि जब मैं स्कीम के साथ ही क्वेश्चन दे रहा हूँ ना, so you guys are easily able to solve those questions. So what I will be doing, I will be covering 3-4 ministries first, and then I will take a separate session for the questions. Or maybe I can also plan like this, that after notification मैं तो गवर्नमेंट स्कीम्स के MCQ सेशन लेता ही हूँ, तो वहां से you guys can solve the questions. ठीक है. चलिए, if you have any doubts, please ask me. Otherwise, give me a thumbs up. And the people who will be watching later, you guys also can ask your queries in the comment box. चलिए, if you have any doubts, my dear friends, you can ask me. प्रीमियम वाला पार्ट दोबारा समझा दे. आप एक बार पॉज करके रिपीट देख लेंगे तो आपको समझ में आ जाएगा। वैसे मैं आपको समझा देता हूँ, कोई बात नहीं। लेकिन लाइव इनका ऑनलाइन क्लासेस का यही तो फायदा है। देखो भाई, 100 रुपए का प्रीमियम में मान लेते हैं, लेट्स से द प्रीमियम इज ₹100, ठीक है। और ये है खारीफ क्रॉप। दिस इज अ खारीफ क्रॉप इन अनइरिगेटेड एरिया। इन अनइरिगेटेड एरिया तो 100 रुपए में से 2% यानी कि 2 रुपए तो फार्मर दे देगा, ठीक है। और 30% अनइरिगेटेड एरियाज में सरकार देगी, यानी कि 30 रुपए। तो 30 + 2 कितना हो गया, 32 रुपीज हो गए। बाकी 68 रुपीज कौन देगा भाई? तो बाकी जो 68 रुपीज है ना, इसकी सबसे ज्यादा लड़ाई है। इसलिए जो बर्डन है वो किसके ऊपर आता है? स्टेट गवर्नमेंट्स के ऊपर बहुत ज्यादा आता है। ठीक है मुग्धा, आई होप इट इज क्लियर। नहीं, अविरल, यू डोंट हैव टू रिमेम्बर द नेम ऑफ द येस्टेक स्टेट्स। सर हम डिस्क्रिप्टिव में ये लिख सकते हैं कि डिस्पाइट ऑफ गेटिंग इंश्योर्ड, पीपल आर अनअवेयर ऑफ द क्लेम सेटलमेंट प्रोसेस, सो दे आर स्टिल बेयरिंग द क्रॉप लॉस एंड अनेबल टू गेट द बेनिफिट्स। I mean लिख सकते हैं, बट देयर शुड बी अ वैलिड रीजन बिहाइंड राइटिंग एनीथिंग। आंचल, चलिए, आई थिंक देयर आर नो फर्दर डाउट्स, लेट्स वाइंड इट अप। आई विल सी यू इन द नेक्स्ट क्लास ऑन फ्राइडे। कीप स्टडिंग एंड कीप स्टडिंग हार्ड, एंड शाम को 5 बजे पीआईबी क्लास में मिलेंगे। बाय बाय, टेक केयर एंड गॉड ब्लेस।